you can see that the spline roadbed has been started, and I'm doing a second video on that will kind of cover how I'm doing that. I've never done spline roadbed before, so I'm learning as I go, and I'm kind of showing some of the things I think will work, and then we'll watch, throughout that video we'll find out what worked and what didn't. Right here you can see I got the upper valance on up there, and I'm started the process of sealing the seams and the little nail holes that hold it up. I also put that light up there, the track lighting, to fix the problem with that one light box up there that was too close from the original track plan. The track lighting was from the old layout at the other house, and I'm not sure if it's going to be a permanent solution, but it's a solution for now to keep some light in here so I can work. I don't plan on having any lights on when the layout's operating. They'll just be the lights that are underneath the edge here. You can see I've kind of sunk that down to form a little valance underneath there. And I'll continue to use my LED lights, which I'll find here in a minute and show you how that's going to go. I threw some paint on the backdrop here. Even though most of that backdrop won't be seen, I figured I'd paint it just to be sure. Maybe more over on this end here, and I'm also filling nail holes here. One thing I did different is I painted this white originally underneath here, and then realized that when the tracks are when I raise up this roadbed to where it's supposed to be, you might be looking up in here more than I thought, and so I thought I'd paint it blue. I'll seal that seam along the back there. I won't radius it, but I'll fill it up with some paintable caulking, and when I do the second coat, it'll cover all that up and hide that gap. As we move down here, you can see the big project that I was hoping to get done is done, and that's the curved corners. With a lot of sanding throughout the week and recoating. Took almost an entire gallon of paint to paint up in here. I also hung this series of track lights up here too, and these are going to be permanent. Here there's going to be a panel that goes across here to the other side where that bridge is across, and the only thing you'll see is that little radius right there. All that stuff up there will be hidden. You won't see any of that. This joint here, I didn't, pardon the condition of my hands, I've been doing a lot of work as you can see, but this seam here won't be seen because the hill is going to come up and hide that, kind of wrap up and over this, but you will see this, so I filled all that up nice and smooth. There you can see the little extension right here for the lighting that'll go in there. I got all the bench work in the switchback, and now I'm going to start laying the roadbed in here. It comes all the way under here, and we'll punch through the plywood there for the lift bridge. Got an ample supply of pretzel sticks there to keep me going. And then this is the start of the upper level, which I didn't screw on because I explained in the roadbed video how I'll have to. I'm actually going to build all the roadbed down here and then lift it up, and I need to be able to pass through here, so I'll lift this off, pass it through, and then set this back down. You can see the curved backdrop on this part here too, coming around. Now I didn't finish this edge because I have to continue that strip down there and fill that seam, and then there'll be a backdrop panel there, and then I'll just tape and fill and touch that paint up on that corner there. But you can kind of see how that looks in there. About where this seam is here, that's where that panel or that kind of bridge will come across here, and the fascia will come all the way up to about where that blue tape is, and then kind of come down till it meets down here, and then it'll be level, and that'll hide that transition into that other room over there. So just for comparison, this is what this area is going to look like here. Although I do have some changes to that switchback, which I'll explain in the roadbed video. But you can kind of see how that's going to go in here. And then you can see how the second level will come piece that I just told you that's going to come out will go right here, and that'll be where the roadbed will go up on top of it there. There's the gap right here where that little bridge will cut across to join the original section of the layout right there. And up in here, I've got the valances started. They're pretty short up there, just 3 inches down from the ceiling. And then I also put the fascia in here, and I'm filling the seam and the nail holes. And hopefully I'll get the lights up in there next weekend. So what I'm doing here for this is it's just masonite screwed to a piece of 1/2-inch plywood, or not screwed, but nailed. I glue and nail that, so that's pretty strong on there. And then the lighting will go up and be screwed to that piece of plywood in there. And then it just goes down, and it is a square corner down here because it's just the way it worked out. I'll have to glue this together on the back side here. Here's a sample of the lighting strip that I'm going to use. This is left over from my old layout, and I'll use the same method on the new layout. I actually just ordered all the LEDs and got them in this week, so next weekend I'll get lights in here. And what we've got here is the one strip. These are both white strips. One's a warm white, one's a cool white, and then the other one up here is a color changing strip, which I use to set it for blue for nighttime running. And during the day I use both of these at the same time, but if I dim out the cool white and just use the warm white, it kind of looks like a sunrise, and if I bleed in the cool whites, it looks like a normal daytime. And then of course I can, if I want it to have that kind of overcast bluish day, I could bleed out the warm white, or the warm whites, and have a more cool white. And I do that I did that in the old layout with these two dimmers here. This is where I used to come in, and this would turn the lights on, and then I would blend the two strips here with the the two warm, or the two white strips, the cool and the white, and then the color ones were just on a remote. Actually, if I left the color ones on all the time, you didn't even notice it when these were on. So I'll take these out of this piece here when I build a new end on here, and I'll put these somewhere else, and these will control the entire layout. So on the end here, you can kind of see how I'm going to mount these on here. I'll have the back of this inside here painted white, and then this strip will screw to the upper level. The last method I used, I shortened that screwing flange up by bending this back on itself, which made it more rigid. But this was a sample one here, and you can see how that angle in there actually makes a nice wire chase if you have to run wires in there. This thing that they're mounted to is a piece of window flashing that's flattened out. It would normally go on a window like this, and where the LEDs are would be horizontal, and then that little lip would go over the front of the window. But I smashed these out so that they make an angle, because the LEDs actually work better if they're angled into the scene rather than being flat. If they're flat here, it casts a real hard shadow about halfway back. And if you put them vertical, well, then they light the sky on the top really light, and then the light fades off, and you almost get an upside down sky look. So I'll show, when I go to put these up, I'll show how I do all that and make those pieces. Okay, the last image here will be the end of that section where it becomes double level there and starts to go into the next room, which will go out this side here. There'll be stairs that come up through here and go up into that gap in there. So hopefully that'll be pretty soon, but things are going to slow down now. This was a lot to do in 2 weeks. But now that I'm going to be doing the road bed here, I got to slow down and take my time and make sure it all works out good. And then I'll hand lay all the track in this area here and down into the switchback and get it all functioning before I move on. That way I can make sure it all works out before I build any more layout. Now that piece of flex track there was just a piece I had. I just had to see what it would look like, but this will all be hand laid in here. Actually, this spline road bed is not going as bad as I thought. I thought it was going to be really time consuming, but it moves along pretty fast. Well, that was a lot of work for one weekend. 2 weeks into this, and I've done way more than I thought I would be able to. Thanks for checking in, and we'll see how it goes in the next couple weeks.